Now that you've completed a successful L test, you're ready to move on to pilot testing. P testing, or pilot testing, is typically conducted at the customer facility on a true slipstream of feed material. In order to complete a P test, you must first convert your system from L mode to P mode. Kira will demonstrate how to convert the system now. In order to convert from Series L to Series P mode, you're going to need the following parts and tools. First, you'll need 2 Series P clamshells, one for the top and one for the bottom. Second, you're going to need a minor plumbing conversion kit in order to change the plumbing on the concentrate line. Next, you're going to need the center shaft for the Series P. The tools required will be flathead screwdriver, 1/2 inch wrench, 1/2 inch socket wrench, 7/8 inch open end wrench, 5/8 inch socket wrench, 1/8 inch hex key, Series P O-ring kit, air ratchet, adjustable wrench, striking wrench, and a dead blow hammer. Always be sure before beginning this type of work to disconnect the power from your VSEP. In addition, it's going to be very important to install the shipping bar to minimize the force exerted on the system. The first step for conversion is to remove the Series L upper pressure plate and clamshell. First, disconnect the permeate line, loosen the center bolts and the perimeter bolts, remove the center bolt, and then remove the entire upper pressure plate assembly. For now, set the upper pressure plate assembly aside. We're going to begin work on the lower clamshell. In order to remove the clamshell, you'll need the 1/8 inch hex key. Using the 1/8 inch hex key, remove the 4 hex screws that hold the lower clamshell to the lower pressure plate. These are located at the 3, 6, 9, and 12 o'clock positions. Once you have removed the 4 hex screws, you can remove the lower clamshell from the lower pressure plate assembly. Set aside the lower clamshell for future use in L mode. You can now remove the slowdown plate. The slowdown plate is a large stainless steel mass just above the lower pressure plate. You may need a flathead screwdriver to remove it. Set aside the slowdown plate for future use in L mode. Before installing the Series P lower clamshell, make sure you have a clean, dry mating surface. Once you've achieved a clean, dry mating surface, be sure that the small O14 O-rings are properly installed. These O-rings seal the concentrate channel between the lower pressure plate and the lower clamshell. Refer to the manual for a detailed view of O-ring placement. Once you've installed the O14 O-rings, get the lower P clamshell and slide it in place on the lower pressure plate. The lower P clamshell does not have hex screws holding it in place. Be sure not to knock the small O14 O-rings out of place while installing the lower P clamshell. Be sure that the concentrate holes on the clamshell are lined up with the concentrate lines on the lower pressure plate. Install the center shaft and O-ring at this time. Rotate the center shaft in a clockwise direction until it is completely tightened. You may need a flathead screwdriver to fully tighten this part. Now you're ready to work on the upper pressure plate and clamshell. Discard the Series L bolts or save them for future L mode testing. Using the hex key, remove the 4 hex screws in the same manner that you did on the lower pressure plate. Save these hex screws as they will be reused to install the upper clamshell for the Series P mode. Set aside the Series L upper clamshell for future use in L mode. Make sure you have a clean, dry mating surface before installing the upper Series P clamshell. In addition, make sure that the O14 O-rings are in good condition. Replace them if necessary. Be sure to align the feed holes on the clamshell that are at the 3 and 9 o'clock position with the holes on the pressure plate. Use the hex keys that you used in the L mode to reattach the Series P upper clamshell to the Series P upper pressure plate. Be sure to tighten the hex screws until they are fully recessed into the upper Series P clamshell. If necessary, replace the O-ring in the upper clamshell that snaps into the pre-slotted groove. Set aside the upper clamshell assembly as you now have to make some plumbing adjustments to the VSEP in order to run in P mode. The first adjustment is to insert the P plumbing at the concentrate line. In order to insert the P plumbing, you must first disconnect the feed line connecting to the VSEP. Remove the adapter that is located on the feed line. Next, remove the plug on the concentrate T. You're now ready to install the L pipe joining the two concentrate lines for P mode. Once you have the L pipe in place, use your 7/8 inch open-ended wrench to be sure that the compression fittings are fully tightened. Finally, remove the feed stainless steel braided hose and the fitting that was used for the Series L mode. For now, you can leave the stainless steel braided hose behind the unit. You have now completed conversion to Series P mode. After installation of the filter pack, your system will look like this. The next step will be to install the Series P filter pack.